Happy holidays! Today we're serving up something that will leave your guests in awe. Hey guys, welcome back to At the Table. Sydney here, and today we are going to feature a couple different holiday recipes for you. So one of the best things to do if you are going to a holiday gathering, or maybe you're hosting the holiday gathering, is to always choose a dish that you know will be a healthy option. So we're gonna actually make ratatouille today. And ratatouille, if you've ever seen the movie, tastes delicious, but it is a variety of vegetables and they look very, very pretty. So they're a great thing to take to a gathering because it's a very nice kind of fancy looking dish, but it's very, very simple. It's not a lot of ingredients. The biggest thing is having to chop some vegetables, but we're gonna make it look really pretty. And that way we can ensure that we have a nice, healthy, veggie focused dish at the event that we're going to. It's not all gonna be smothered in soup or, all those things we enjoy, but we wanna bring a nice healthy dish as well. So we're gonna make that, and then I'm also gonna show you a recipe on it's how you can utilize your ham after the holidays. So things that you can do to help to reuse some of those leftovers without it tasting like the same thing every single day. So to start off with, all we have to do is we're gonna put some of our marinara sauce into our pan. So you wanna use some type of large casserole dish. I believe this one's a 9x13, it is. And we're putting about a cup of marinara sauce in the bottom. You can make your own marinara sauce if you're real fancy, or you can simply buy jarred marinara sauce like we have today. This was actually left over from another program, so it worked out that I already had it on hand. And it says about a cup. We're just gonna use the rest of the jar because I don't wanna have a bunch of, just a little bit left over. And you just wanna get that kind of nice and even along the bottom, as best you can. And then we're gonna be adding our onions and our vegetables on top. So our next step, make sure I get that kind of out of the way for you, is to add in our onions. So it calls for an entire onion. This is a really big onion. So I'm actually gonna use half of this here and half of it in our soup recipe. And remember with our onions, our tip is always to keep our hair, keep that root end. We cut off the stem end. And then the easiest way, if you're dicing, is to go along your grooves, along the sides. And if you're slicing, then you can do the exact same thing. You can just go along the grooves. And then what we end up doing is just cutting off our root end. So this will kind of look like a blooming onion when we're done with it. And I'm just watching those fingers as I go. So you're kind of left with this wonky looking blooming onion type thing, and then we're just gonna chop off the end. So we're gonna spread this all on the very bottom, which will be so yummy. So when we're thinking about the holidays and trying to cook for the holidays, I think a lot of folks we were just talking about this in one of my workshops, of how you wanna try to sometimes eat a little bit healthier and choose healthier options. This onion strong is gonna make me cry a little bit. So, instead of just full-blown changing a recipe, I don't know if you've ever seen kind of the memes that float around social media of, please don't change our Thanksgiving dinner to healthy food, right? Same thing with any other holiday dinner. I think that's fair because we don't eat that type of stuff all the time. We eat it very seldomly, but there's still things that we can do to help us eat healthy during the holidays. And part of that is trying to make sure that we do have some nice healthy recipes that we're bringing, whether you're making like a salad that you're bringing to the holiday party, or you choose something like this, which is more of a vegetable dish. This really helps to ensure that you're getting some of those good vegetables in, you're getting your vitamins and minerals. And if you want to have some of that pie, that's okay. If you want to have, the things that are covered in butter, that's okay. We're not eating those all the time. So I always stress, don't feel guilty about doing that because it's not an everyday thing that happens. But this is a really easy way that you can make sure you have healthy stuff still served at your meal. So all that we have left is actually just to slice these fairly thin. We want them to be about 1/8 of an inch. So you can see how thin we're getting with these. And we're gonna slice up our eggplant, our zucchini, our squash, and our tomatoes this thin. So we'll go ahead, we'll take a quick break while I finish slicing these, and we'll see you back in just a second.
With managed Wi-Fi from Star Communications, you can control what devices can connect to your network and when, so the holidays run smoothly for everyone. Managed Wi-Fi from Star Communications. Sign up today.
Hey guys, Sydney and Jesse here from At the Table.
Are you enjoying the show?
We want to hear from you. We have a quick survey where you can tell us things you've learned, recipes you've tried, and how the show has impacted you. You'll be entered into a grand prize drawing. Check out our link or scan the QR code for more info.
Thank you for tuning in and cooking with us at the table.
Hey guys, welcome back. So I have our Ratatouille vegetables all placed. I was going to show you a little bit of us placing these last couple ones. So we have zucchini, squash, eggplant, squash, zucchini, and some tomatoes as well. And whenever you're layering them, you want to kind of layer them at a slant. So this way, whenever you are adding all of your seasonings and your olive oil on top, it will kind of get in there into those crevices as you go. So very simple. I just kind of go down the line and try to use up as much of these as possible. Your key too is trying to get them more uniform with your cutting. And we'll see how it is towards the end if I need to push it at all. But it looks very pretty and it's got a really pretty color to it as well. So it's just just looks like a little fancy dish to serve up. I did have to do an extra half of a zucchini and an extra half of a tomato, but the great thing about this recipe is that you can really customize it to a variety of sizes. So if you don't want to make this big of a dish, you could do a smaller dish. Let's say that you're just cooking for a smaller group of folks. You can make this kind of be whatever you need it to be. So we'll try to get right up to the end. And those are kind of thin, so I'm going to double layer them. And onions are getting in the way. And voila, we are good to go. We got a few pieces of eggplant, but that's pretty much it. So next we're just going to pour a little bit of olive oil over. Just real light. And we'll add in our seasonings as well. And then this bakes for 40 minutes. So it does have a little bit of a lengthy, I would say, cook time. Not anything crazy. That's not too long. After 40 minutes, you're gonna pull it out and add mozzarella cheese on top. So we have about a cup of mozzarella cheese that we will be putting on, and then let that get nice and melty in the oven for about 5 minutes, and it will be done. So pretty simple of a dish, and it looks very nice and it tastes delicious. So I'm just adding a little basil and oregano. You could definitely do Italian seasoning here if you would like, but I've got about half a teaspoon of each of those. And then we're just gonna add just a little bit of salt and pepper as well. Give it some good flavor. So some other things that you can do around the holidays too to try to keep healthy and keep feeling good is also to make sure that you're getting in plenty of movement. A lot of times during the holidays, we just eat and sit and hang out, right? Or graze for a while. And it definitely helps by moving, try to go on a walk or play a game or do things that will just help you to get up and move your body. That way you'll feel good, you'll feel better, and it'll help to burn off some of those extra calories we might be eating. So I'm gonna throw this in the oven, again, 40 minutes. And then we will add in our cheese at the end. We're gonna move along over here to our next recipe, which is a ham and bean soup. I love ham and bean soup. To me, I love soups in general. This time of year, it's such a good time to kind of get into different soups. And there's so many different varieties that you can do as far as flavors that you can have. So a lot of times at the holidays, we'll have ham left over, especially. We usually have turkey more around Thanksgiving, ham more towards Christmas or those holidays. And ham is very versatile, lots of stuff that you can do. But this is a very simple soup, and it uses white beans, a little bit of chicken broth, and some carrots and celery and onion. Very simple, easy to throw together. The only thing that, to me, you might change up could possibly be your vegetables. You can use whatever other vegetables you have on hand. And that is the benefit of soup in general, is that you can really switch up what you're putting inside of the soup and use whatever you have on hand to kind of clean out your bins. So let me grab my knife. First thing we're gonna do is chop up our onions. And I'll go ahead and do that before we go on a break. And then we'll start working on some of our other ingredients as well. So remember that technique I showed you of going down those ridges. And then usually I just kind of move my hand over the top. I have seen people do the sliced way, and to me this is just a lot safer and less risky. So then to make it into those diced pieces, so I showed you over there how to make it into those slices. You're gonna turn it, and then you're gonna go the opposite direction. And then now we have those diced up onion pieces. So it's less time in front of our face, hopefully less time to make you cry, what we want to avoid. So I'll go ahead and get this in our pot, get our stove started, and we will see you guys back in just 1 second.
The average American household has 17 devices connected to the internet. With more and more devices able to get online, you may need to increase your internet speed. Call Star Communications today and let us help you select the package that's right for you.
Computer viruses, malware, and ransomware are out there. They're dangerous, and they can steal your identity and damage your equipment. Star Communications is now offering Protect IQ. The service adds an extra layer of protection to every device connected to your network, working quietly in the background. Star can help you protect yourself from the inside out with Protect IQ. Call Star today and take advantage of this free service when you sign up for whole home Wi-Fi with Star Communications.
Hey guys, welcome back. So we have our onion chopped up. I went ahead and put it in this bowl. We're gonna chop the rest of our vegetables as well in just a minute, but what we'll start with is our ham. We are gonna be throwing this into the pot to just brown up a little bit. Obviously your ham will be already cooked from your meal that you had, and you need about a pound. So you can see this isn't a crazy amount of ham to have. So if you've been munching on it for a while and you're, just tired of plain ham, it's a good way to use up this last little bit. So you're gonna just cut it up into chunks. Obviously, the size chunks that you probably would want to get in a soup. You don't want like the big old sliver. And we'll just brown that up a little bit to give it flavor. We do some of that browning, we get some of that caramelization, and that helps to just make the flavor pop with our food. And the great thing about this is just obviously thinking too of the season that we're in. It's cold. You may have been around a lot of folks for the holidays, and sick season is upon us. So soup is always kind of that hearty, feel-good food that can help us just to feel better if you are starting to get under the weather. So can save this recipe for that as well. So got all that chopped up. I'm just gonna throw this into our pan here. Kind of got it on a medium low. And we're just gonna cook that for like 5 minutes. So you want it to get nice and brown. Okay, stir that up a little bit so that it gets all of that oil. I did about a tablespoon of olive oil. You can use whatever, cooking oil you prefer. It's just what I typically have at my house. And I'm gonna finish up with our carrots. I don't always peel my carrots. I rinse them really well, scrub them down, and that is the extent of it. You do get some of that fiber that's in that outer layer. Carrots in general have a decent amount of fiber, so I just am lazy. I don't want to do the extra step of peeling. Totally up to you if you want to do that, but it doesn't hurt. Just scrub it real good. We're going to be cooking it. I'm not eating these raw, so that helps, and just save yourself some time. This recipe could also easily go into your crock pot, or if you have an electric pressure cooker, like an Instant Pot, it would be a good, easy recipe for that as well. Both of these recipes, I didn't mention this, came from Budget Bites. Y'all have probably heard me reference that site before, but I love them for just some different cooking ideas. They tend to have most of their stuff's pretty healthy. You're gonna use your judgment, of course, on maybe this is, there goes carrot. Maybe this is a good recipe to make, healthier recipe to make, maybe not so healthy, all of that. You can make your own judgment for that. But both of these recipes, as you can see, are very healthy, very affordable recipes, which is the key. That is part of why I love their website, because their stuff is just, they tell you the budget. So this one actually says the total cost of the recipe is $6.70, and per serving you're paying $1.68. Who does not want to pay $1.68 for a meal? That is right up my alley. So got those chopped up. If you want them further chopped, you could. Again, preference here in how you want your carrots to be. And then we've got celery. All of these ingredients are typically things we have leftover or very popular ingredients that are in other dishes we have at the holidays, which is partially why I thought this was such a good recipe for us to do today in talking about a good leftover dish to make. Now, some other ideas, if you are just looking for them, sandwiches are great. You can put a lot of things in a sandwich to use with your leftovers, whether you have leftover meats. We were actually talking about collard sandwiches the other day and how good those are. So if you have some leftover collards, those would be really yummy. So, be adventurous. You can put anything between 2 slices of bread and it'd be pretty tasty and taste a little different. And then also different types of like stir fries and things like that. You can utilize some of your leftover vegetables or meats for a stir fry and add some rice to it, even a little bit of soy sauce, ginger, some fresh garlic, and you've got a totally different flavor profile than you had before. So this is fresh garlic here. We're gonna add to it. I'm gonna finish chopping this stuff up and we will see you guys back in just 1 minute to finish up our soup.
Great communities attract talented people to live, work, and raise their families. We're committed to delivering future-proof broadband so our friends, families, and neighbors can live rich lives in smart rural communities across America. Your community is our community. We're your rural broadband partners. You do great things. We make great things possible.
When we're connected, American communities thrive. As the internet connects more Americans every year, access to robust and reliable broadband is more important than ever for rural communities. The Universal Service Fund enables affordable, high-quality broadband, improves healthcare outcomes with access to telehealth options, gives children the education for a bright future, and allows business growth and job creation. The Universal Service Fund is expanding and sustaining connectivity for all, because when we're connected, America thrives.
Let's get out of here.
Protect what matters most in your life with security from Star Communications.
Hey guys, so we have our vegetables all done. Remember I chopped those up and we just added those to our pan. I'm gonna saute them for about 5 minutes. I might have went a little bit longer than 5 minutes, but it's okay. And this actually, you can see a little bit of that caramelization happening with the browning on some of our vegetables. That helps to give it extra flavor, which we love. So what we're gonna do now is add in our beans. We have 3 cans of cannellini beans, which are basically like white kidney beans. They're a really good starter bean. If you don't eat a lot of beans, I definitely encourage you to try them. 2 of the cans I've added. 1 of the cans I'm just doing a pureed. So looks kind of yucky, but it'll help give a little bit of thickness and texture to our soup. And you leave the liquid in the can whenever you pour it into your blender. So make sure that you don't drain all of your cans, you only drain 2 of them. Let me turn this down a little bit. You can see how thick this is. We're gonna add a little bit of chicken broth as well. In our spices. I'm gonna turn that down just a hair. So we're just using thyme to season for this one. just about a 1/4 teaspoon, so not much time. You could adjust that if you want a little bit more, a little bit less. And then also adding some salt and pepper. This is kind of to taste. Remember with salt, a good tip is you can use a little bit while you're cooking, but oftentimes I'll check at the end of it cooking and then I'll add in my salt because it helps to reduce that salt. That sodium is going to kind of, say cook out, but it's going to cook into the food, so it won't be, you can't taste it quite as much. So in order to use a little bit less sodium, you could add it later, salt later. So if you have somebody in your family who is a big salt person, you feel like they always add salt, they like a lot of salt, have them add it at the table, then they're actually using less, so you don't have to add quite as much during your cooking. So just gonna mix that all together. You can see it's kind of thinned out now that we have added that chicken broth in. It's gonna continue to thicken as it cooks some. So keep that in mind. Some of that water is gonna evaporate and cook out. We're gonna bring it to a boil and then we're gonna turn it down and let it cook for about 15 minutes. So we'll show you that finished product. Once it is all done cooking, we're gonna add in our ham as well. And that will be kind of your last step, is adding in your ham. You're good to go. So we'll let that do its thing. We're gonna go ahead and switch over to our ratatouille because it is done. The last thing that we need to add is our mozzarella cheese for that and a little bit of parsley. So I'm gonna chop up some of our parsley. I do need an assistant to get my mozzarella cheese out of the refrigerator because I forgot that. And with parsley, you can simply just, because this is so thin, you can simply cut along the stem as well. So don't feel like you have to pick each piece of parsley. You can easily just chop it. Be lazy, a little bit lazy. We only need about 2 tablespoons, so that's plenty. Good to go. And thank you, sir. It's a big bag. I bought a different bag. That'll work. That's okay, that's good. That'll work. All right, so I'm gonna grab our, let me turn this just so you can see. I'm gonna grab our ratatouille out of the oven. And remember, this is gonna have to cook for about 5 minutes more just to let the cheese kind of melt on top, and then you're gonna add in your parsley at the very end. So we only need about 1 cup of mozzarella cheese. And I'm just gonna eyeball until it looks nice and decently cheesy. Parsley will help to give it that nice, pretty color. So again, presentation, you're taking it to a holiday gathering or you're serving it as a meal to folks, you'll have that nice presentation factor as well. So we will throw this back in the oven. We're gonna let it cook for 5 minutes, and then I'll show you guys what everything looks like all at the end. I hope this has been helpful to you in trying to think of like healthy recipes you can do. Also making sure that you're keeping yourself healthy and taken care of during this holiday season. That is our goal. We're getting right into the new year, and we want to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves just as much as we take care of others. So I hope you have a great holiday season, and I will see you guys next time on At the Table.